Hey guys, it's Lion here, the Hobbies of Man. Once again, and today we're going to be doing another manga first impressions review. Today we're going to be looking at Juana and the Dragonnewt'S and the Seven Kingdoms, or the Dragonnewt'S Seven Kingdoms, written by Kiyohisa Tanaka, also drawn by them. It's published by 7 Seas, as you guys can see right there. It's a 3-volume manga, and I'm going to do the first impressions review for the first volume, and I'll do the review for the whole thing in the coming days. The demographic here is teen. I couldn't find any information about the magazine this was published in. Well, I found the name, Mag Garden, but I couldn't find the demographic information for it. But based on the stuff that's in here, I'd probably say it's either a seinen or a shoujo magazine, because seinen magazines tend to have stuff that are oddly able to be read by a lot of people, even though they're supposed to be magazines for adult audiences. And shoujo, it kind of fits since the main character is a girl. Doesn't mean it has to be shoujo, but I think it would either be a seinen or a shoujo magazine, or it might be one of those magazines that doesn't really have a specific demographic, and it just kind of publishes whatever it feels like because it can do it online. I'm not really sure. I'm not too familiar with the magazine, but I'm pretty sure that the Ancient Magus Brides also is from that magazine. And if you look at the 7 Seas website and you look up this manga, it says it's for fans of that series. And I guess that is true. I wouldn't necessarily know since I haven't really interacted with that series much. I haven't read it. But based on what I know about it, it does seem like there is some crossover between the people that would like them. So yeah, the genres here are fantasy, post-apocalyptic, and it's a type of travel log story, which is basically most stories, but it's kind of a definition that has gone out of style, but I think it applies very well to this and quite a few other manga. But it's just not something used. But basically means it's a story about a group of people traveling somewhere, and you're recounting their situations, right? Their travels. So yeah, it does not have an adaptation, and the premise is basically that there was some sort of apocalypse. Humanity has long perished, and the earth has been inherited by these dragon people, these lizard people, and they revere humans to an extent. They understand that the humans were a very advanced society. They understand that the stuff that humans left behind is very useful and meaningful, and so it is an expensive commodity that people have. But they don't really know too much about humans, which kind of feels like an odd situation, but I think it kind of works. We understand that ancient humans, ancient civilizations had a lot of value to them, but we don't really know too much about them beyond what has been written down and that we can verify, right? So makes sense, but you would think that there'd be more to it than that, but it's not, and I think it works. We follow this main character. His name is Nied, actually, and he is this kind of down on his luck, kind of loser type character. He seems to be a carnivorous type of lizard, and he's looked down upon by all the people that live near him, which all happen to be vegetarians. I'm not really sure how this works, because all of the vegetarian groups, the herbivore group that we see, are all very gigantic creatures, and him being a carnivore is actually a very small one. I'm not really sure how that works. I'm pretty sure when it comes to lizards, the biggest ones are the carnivores, but I'm not really sure. And he's looked down upon by them, and he is actually a scavenger. He is someone that goes out to find ancient human relics. And one day he's searching for them. He finds this cave, this area, and he comes across this egg. And then this egg hatches. And from within the egg comes out Juana, this little girl, with very nice brown skin, very beautiful purple blue hair apparently, and she doesn't speak English, she doesn't speak Japanese, she speaks Spanish. Oddly, I do want to comment on this. I'm not sure if the issue is that the Japanese author didn't know enough about Spanish to use it appropriately, or if the translator didn't know enough about Spanish to translate it properly, and they didn't feel like doing the research. I'm not really sure. I would have really liked to see someone that actually speaks Spanish go over this, because the word choices are pretty odd when it comes to some of the things. nothing feels completely wrong. There are definitely some syntax errors, but they can be kind of looked over by the fact that this kid, we don't know too much about them. Maybe they didn't learn how to speak properly, right? So that is fair, but there's an odd set of choices with some of the words where it's like, if this kid is 7 years old, they're not gonna know those words, because the way that the Spanish language works is like, there's a lot of words that you just might never encounter, even though in English they might be relatively average, right? And so this kid uses some words like that. And I also don't know what exactly they're supposed to be speaking, like what version of Spanish, because they seem to speak very neutrally for most of the time. And then they use very specific phrases, but they're not all consistent. One of them seems to be some sort of Spanish phrase that's Galician. So from the region that is to the southwest of Spain, the northwest of Spain. And then there's this other phrase they use that's from Colombia and Venezuela. And I'm not really sure where they're supposed to be from. It doesn't really matter, but it is something that, as someone that speaks Spanish, bugs me, because I'm missing context. Or the story was created with missing context, and so it makes it feel like I'm missing something when I might not be. And so basically the story is this girl gets taken in by this lizard guy called Nied, and they have very kind of generic first contact type interactions. Then Nied decides to take her in. He takes her to his master's place, his old boss basically, and his boss gives him some information. He takes her home. They begin to bond. And so we have a lone wolf and cub type situation, a escort mission type situation, where they have to go to this place called Spian, I think, or I don't know, Sipan or something like that. It's basically Spain, but scrambled. And it's very far away. They don't have the actual access to that region, so they have to go to the closest thing near it. And so Nied and Juana embark on a mission. They go together into the unknown, and it's kind of an escort mission where Nied is the escorter. And they give Juana a cute little astronaut outfit so she doesn't get hurt, so she doesn't get destroyed by the sun and the cold. And, well, things happen to them and their struggles, because obviously Nied is kind of a loser. He doesn't have too much of an emotional will strength to him. And Juana, of course, is a naive little child that can communicate, and so issues ensue. And it's a really cute story. I really generally did enjoy it. I really like these travel log escort mission type stories a lot, so it really works for me. It's right up my alley. I do have some difficulties there with the use of Spanish, because it doesn't seem accurate, and so it bothers me. And there's also some difficulty with understanding some of the artwork that happens here. Sometimes it feels like it's really sketchy, and then the characters actually reference something in the drawing, but because the drawing that is specifically being referenced is so sketchy, I don't actually know what they're looking at. And so I feel like I'm losing a little bit of context there. And that might totally be a me issue, but I do think it is an art issue. So I'm willing to kind of, take the L on that one. It might be different for everyone else, so your mileage may vary with that. Otherwise, Juana and the Dragonnewt'S is a really cute story. It's a really short story. The first volume gives you a lot of what you need to understand if you're going to like it or not. And I personally found it to be really, really enjoyable and really cute. I recommend you guys read it, and I'll do a full review for the series here soon in the next couple of days. So thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys later.